A couple of weeks ago, I was watching my favorite movie, Harlem Nights. Now, I done seen that movie a whole bunch of times, maybe like 500 times. And every time I see it, I still get weak. Especially now, because y'all done made a meme when Red Fox had the trifocals on. I be weak as hell. Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, all them. They was wildin', bro. But then I started thinking like, damn, what was Harlem really like back then? Not the movie version. I'm talking about like real deal, real life Harlem. The streets, the people, the energy. Because I mean, that whole vibe had to come from somewhere, right? Back in the 1920s, Harlem wasn't just a city. It was alive. Jazz spilling out of windows, weed smoke everywhere, people laughing and dancing in the middle of all that struggle. It was loud, proud, and free in a way that the world just wasn't ready for. So get ready for the high history of the Harlem Renaissance. Let's go ahead and spark your reefers now, because this one is a wild story.
Type of nigga that get sassy on the bitch. VVS, clarity, stone, Prezi on the bitch. And I'm feeling like the hand of God bless me in this bitch. Put respect up on my name, ho, I'm heavy in this bitch. I just want 7 Grammys.
What's up, parties? It's the dopest soul you'll ever meet, and welcome to High History, where we talk about real people getting real high back in the day. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because you guys run my life, and I'm always posting content. Let's get into the story. Alright, so it's the early 1900s. Life in the South is rough. I mean, rough as hell. No money, no rights, no peace. The Jim Crow laws had the whole region on lock. It was lynchings, which I'm not gonna get on. I'm not gonna even get on that because I'll sit here and talk about it forever. Discrimination and no opportunities. Everybody was just in survival mode every single day. I mean, we in survival mode now too, but it was worse for them back then. It was worse for them. People got tired. Whole families started just being like, yeah, fuck it, we out of here. They packed everything they owned, sometimes just one bag. They hopped on trains, buses, wagons, cows, rabbits, whatever the hell they could find to get the hell up out of there. They hopped on it. That movement became known as the Great Migration. It was massive. We talking over 6 million black folks leaving the South in between 1916 and 1970s, I think. Yeah, it was 1916. Between 1916 and the 1970s. I had to make sure, y'all. Yeah, I forgot. It's reefers. So the first wave hit around World War I. That's when the factories and stuff started opening up in the North. See, the war had all the white men overseas fighting. So cities like Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh, and New York needed workers for their factories. Northern companies started advertising in Southern newspapers like, hey, come up here. We not that racist. We got some jobs and some good pay. A little racist. We still gonna call you stuff, but I mean, just come on, bro. Just see for yourself. See for yourself. Imagine being on one of those trains, just watching the South fade out the windows, knowing that you ain't gonna never see home again, but you still got that little spark of hope. That's real faith right there, man. And most people didn't have much, so those trips was long and rough. But once they reached the North, man, it felt like another planet. The cities was loud, full of lights and noise. Racism was still there, but at least it wasn't written into the law. So Harlem was just sitting there wide open. Fancy brownstones that was built for rich white people, but they never moved in. They thought it was too far uptown. Oh, well, excuse me. You can't move uptown. No. I don't even know why they didn't want to move up there. Like, what you mean it's too far uptown? You want to be racist? Like, that's crazy. Like, you don't want to move up there because you want to be racist. That's what I think that means. Okay. So when black people showed up, we filled that space. Turned those cold, empty buildings into homes and filled those streets into something that's legendary. At first, people was just happy to have a roof and a paycheck. But then, Harlem started to breathe. Churches popped up, businesses opened, barbershops started to give you that knick-knack paddywhack, and their rent parties, they started jumping into dime. The Great Migration didn't just move people, it moved possibility. And that's what set the stage for the Harlem Renaissance. A whole movement starting from struggle, smoke, and soul. In 1917, the new Negro Movement, that's another time. God. Jesus, that's a tongue twister. In 1970, the new Negro Movement started making noise. And by the 1920s, it was in full swing. People like W.E.B. Du Bois were leading the charge, saying stuff like, "We not waiting on respect no more. We defining it." It wasn't just politics, it was pride. A whole generation of black people saying, "We're not what you think we are. We're everything that you told us that we can't be." Ho-ass, po-ass, nigga. I'm sorry, I got a little riled up there. I love a good... yes! Damn, I smoked my whole joint already. I still got a little clip left. It won't hit right though. Harlem became headquarters for that mindset. Poets, preachers, hustlers, painters, all living on the same block, all feeling the same spark. The neighborhood turned into a stage, a classroom, a club, all at the same time. The outside world still saw them through a black and white lens, but Harlem was living in full color. You can do what you wanna do and live in color. Alright, my bad. This is where the new Negro Movement showed the world how powerful we really are, through art, through sound, and through soul. And wherever there was music, there was weed. Damn, I should have maybe wait to spark my blunt right here at the story. I don't know why I sparked it so quick. I lit the roach. We good. Can't stop me. Can't stop me. Can't stop me from smoking. They had that real deal 19s 20 pack. That Muggles. That Gage. That T. That Mary Warner. They had some crazy ass names for this shit, bruh. I'm already geeked up. Why would they have these stupid ass... I'm sorry, they not stupid, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. They not dumb. Because I guess loud and Zaz and all the rest of that shit may be dumb to them too, but Muggles T, Mary Warner, I guess it's like Mary Jane. I don't know. It just was funny to me. Mary Warner. Muggles. They had all kinds of names for it back then. But this wasn't that kind of weed that had people glued to the couch. This was that social smoke. You'll roll up, take a hit, and suddenly the room feel lighter, the band playing smoother, and everybody just vibing on the same frequency. Hot dog it. I'm about to roll me up another blunt, y'all. Let's roll. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all. I gotta roll up again. All right, I'm back. What I miss? My bad. We rolled up though. Okay, where I was at? When I was Oh yeah. Everybody vibing on the same level. Okay. Back then, weed wasn't illegal like it is now. It was imported from Mexico, the Caribbean, and sometimes even New Orleans. The same route that music traveled on. Wherever jazz went, the weed followed it. And the first people really pushing that vibe out was the jazz musicians. Louis Armstrong, for example. He wasn't shy about it. He smoked weed every day, called weed his friend, and said it kept him calm and creative. That's me, all the way. I'd say the same thing. It keeps me calm, creative. I smoke it every day. Man, leave me alone. How about no lazy weed smokers? We ain't lazy over here. I can't stand with somebody that had a narrative. We alright. You can literally hear it in his music. The way he played that horn, smooth, relaxed, and happy. That's that reefer rhythm. And he wasn't alone. Cab Calloway had his whole band smoking before shows. That's where songs like The Reefer Man came from. A whole jazz anthem about that one guy that everybody knew that always stayed high and unbothered. Then there was Maz Mezzaro, which I ain't never heard of him before, so I was like, what the hell is this? So he was a white jazz musician that basically became Harlem's weed ambassador. He moved up from Detroit and started selling weed to all the musicians in town. Basically just became part of the scene. He used to say, weed make people forget about racism. And in a country divided by color, that joint was the only thing that made people equal, at least for a few hours. And I heard Harlem had some gas, I ain't gonna lie. Most of it came through the ports in New Orleans and Texas. But once it hit New York, it was Harlem's speciality. Musicians would show up to T-pads like, yo, you got that good meds? That's how good Mads Rose weed was. My man had a whole strand named after him before strands was even a thing. The T-pads was like mini dispensaries and lounges mixed together all in one. You walk in, smell the smoke, people laughing, playing cards, jazz just playing. There'll be food, drinks, and just a whole bunch of conversation that happen at once. About music, love, politics, sometimes just about life. It was safe. It was peaceful. The kind of space when you can finally exhale for real. And that's what made weed such a huge part of the Harlem Renaissance. Because it wasn't just a drug. It was a bridge. Weed connected the poets to the musicians to the painters to the writers. It made people open up, loosen up, and just talk deep. They'd be sitting there mid-smoke like, yo, what if I put this rhythm into a poem? What if I painted what that trumpet sound like? That's how culture spreads, through smoke and conversation. And the thing is, we gave them freedom, real freedom, when the law and society did it. Out there, they were Negroes. But in that smoky Harlem apartment, they were creators and kings and queens and artists. The smoke wasn't hiding them. It was revealing who they really are. That's the part history books skip. The way cannabis shaped the sound, the stories, the whole soul of the Harlem Renaissance. We gave them clarity in the middle of chaos. It turned exhaustion into imagination. And that's what people don't understand. Cannabis wasn't an escape for pain. I don't think cannabis has ever been an escape for pain. It's how we turn pain into beauty. So yes, Harlem had jazz, art, and poetry. But under all of that, they had smoke. Healing smoke. And you know what the dopest part about Harlem was? It didn't just open the door for art. It opened the door for everybody. When that smoke filled the room, all those fake rules disappeared. Didn't matter if you were straight, gay, trans, rich, poor. Inside those T-pads and clubs, people could finally breathe. Harlem was one of the first places where queer black culture could finally shine without hiding. And it was just a sight, I don't even know. It was just a sight to see. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's so many people. It's so many people that paved the way for me to be the way that I am. I can dress it where I can be who I want to be. You can be what's the song? I don't know, but I could just be who I want to be. Oh, I know I can. Oh, I can be what I want to be. Be what I want to be. If I work hard at it. If I work hard at it. Y'all know that. But the confidence, the flavor, the freedom, they were living loud way before Pride had a parade. You had spots like the Clam House and Hamilton Lounge Ball, where the drag scene was just magical. Thousands packed into ballrooms to watch queens dance, walk, and serve looks that would shut down runways today. Judges, jazz musicians, everybody showed up. And running a lot of that energy was Gladys Bentley. Y'all don't understand how important Gladys Bentley is. I don't know why she's not talked about more. Like, Gladys Bentley is so important for the LGBT community, especially for the studs. Like, she's so important. Like, I'm about to have a picture of her put up somewhere or something like that. Like, I'm probably right here. That'll be alright. But yeah, she really important, y'all. Gladys was that girl. Tuxedo, top hat, cane dripping in diamonds, singing the blues while openly flirting with every woman right there on stage. What? Hard as hell. She played piano like it owed her money. Used to crack jokes in between her verses and just ran the room like a boss. The crowd loved her because she was free in a time where no one was allowed to be. But Gladys wasn't alone. There was Richard Bruce Nugent, a writer and painter who didn't just hint about queerness, he wrote it loud. His story, Smoke, Lilies, and Jade, talk about same-sex love with poetry and passion. In 1926, mind you, that was bold as hell. He hung in the same circle as Langston Hughes, but he lived a little freer, painting, smoking, and telling stories about desire without shame. Harlem whispered about him, but it also respected him. He represented that be yourself energy that defined the whole era. Then there was L.S. Alexander Gumby, not a performer, but an activist, collector, and connector. He ran this spot called Gumby Book Studio, a mix between a bookstore, an art salon, and a safe space. He opened his doors for everybody. Queer folks, poets, musicians, dreamers. His place is where ideas got traded, like jazz riffs. He saved photos, poems, pamphlets, the real stories of Harlem, while letting people be themselves under his roof. We can all thank Gumby for a lot of the history that exists today. Appreciate you, Gumby. Gumbo Pal, Gumby Star, Gumster, Gumbellini, Gumdilliocious, Gum Pistol. Alright, I'm done. That's it. People like Gladys weren't sad stories. They were the Renaissance. They built the vibe. They embodied that mix of smoke, sound, and self-expression that made Harlem legendary. And everybody in the room was lit. Weed smoke curling through feathers and sequins, champagne bottles clicking, jazz playing so loud you could feel it in your chest. You see dudes in zoot suits dancing with whoever they wanted, women in suits singing their hearts out, couples of every kind vibing together. No judgment, just expression. People said you can walk down 133rd Street and smell it in the air. You had joints tucked behind ears, rolled in cigarette papers, and they were just passing them out like peace offerings. And the tea pads became safe spaces for the queer folks too. No cops, no shade, no fear. Just peace, rhythm, and family. I don't know why they left this out in the textbooks. I don't know, because this is important too. Like, I want to know all this stuff too. Because yeah, the poetry and the politics mattered, but so did the freedom just to be. Like, you know, I ain't learned about Gladys Bentley till I was like 25. She literally paved the way for me. I should have been learned about her. But every party has that moment when the music shut down and you realize the night about to end. And for Harlem, that moment came in 1929. When the stock market crashed and the Great Depression hit like a ton of bricks. I mean, like a hangover that you just had the greatest moment of your life, and then you wake up from a hangover. One of them hits. One day the streets were alive, jazz spilling out of clubs, rent parties turning into marathons, poets laughing over smoke. The next, everything changed. The lights got lower, the laughter got quieter, and that rent came due. First of the month. And ain't nobody had no cash. What the hell is going on? It started with the banks. People lost their savings overnight. Then the factory started laying off. And since black people was last hired, they was first fired. Jobs disappeared. And suddenly, the promised land that was up north don't look too shiny no more. Harlem, the black capital of art and culture, was now facing poverty, hunger, and fear all over again. The music didn't stop right away though. The Cotton Club kept swinging for a little bit, but it wasn't the same. Even the white audience who came uptown for exotic entertainment stopped coming once their wallets dried up. The clubs that used to pack out every week started shutting their doors. Musicians was playing for pennies, writers couldn't find publishers, and like I said, it didn't matter who and how famous you were. The landlord still wanted his rent. Rent parties turned from celebration to survival plans. People started charging 50 cents at the door, not just to dance though, just to keep the lights on for another week. You still find people at the tea pads, joints in the air, records spinning. They sit around talking about how things used to be, wondering if the dream was gone for good. Even when the cash disappeared, the culture stayed alive through whispers and melodies. The jazz got slower, sadder, but realer. The poems got heavier, but truer, and the art turned darker, but deeper, and the smoke kept rising. Langston Hughes started writing poems that hit harder, less about parties and more about pain, but still beautiful. The Great Depression hit like a storm, but Harlem was used to weathering storms. And we became the calm in chaos. The same joint that sparked creativity in better times helped people hold on to sanity in the worst times. And slowly, the Renaissance that once felt like the center of the universe started fading. Some artists left for Hollywood or Paris. Others stayed, teaching, mentoring, keeping the culture alive in some way. You can still feel it today in every jazz beat, every spoken word piece, every puff of smoke. Harlem lit the match, and the world just kept carrying the flame. The Harlem Renaissance didn't end. It just transformed. Because every generation since then has had that same rhythm, that same ability to turn struggle into something beautiful. That's the real high history of Harlem. Harlem lights dimmed, but they never got turned off. Every spark since then, every blunt, every lighter flicker, it all traces back to the same energy that Harlem gave the world. Which got me thinking, we've been talking about how we build the culture, but what about the people who built the tools behind it? Like, somebody had to make the first lighter, right? Somebody had to decide, like, yo, I'm tired of rubbing these two sticks together. We need something smoother. And that's where the next story comes in. Because apparently, the man to perfect the modern lighter could have been a thief. Side note and fun fact as well. This is the very first script I ever wrote for High History. I wrote it like 2 years ago. Back then I was gonna call it Pot History, but I got a little discouraged about YouTube and stuff like that, so I just started going haywire, and that's where the Adventures of Dope Soul came from, because I was intentionally supposed to start doing this. I don't know why. But anyway, we bringing it back. So, my very first episode, this one is special, y'all. The first lighter thief. Next time on High History, we're talking about Marcel Bick. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Cause like I said before, y'all run my life. I post content I be posting. I don't miss a week. So if you like the series, I suggest that you subscribe. That's all I'm saying. Oh yeah, I can show y'all now. A microphone, yeah, but I suggest that you subscribe. But make sure you smoke the gas, or I gotta light it up. Y'all know I let it go out. Hold on. Make sure you smoke the gas and pass the gas. Dope Soul out.